house. The doctor's in the house. Hey, what's shaking? It's Monday night, lecture night. How is it in your part of the world? Tonight's topic is the psychology of blame. Interesting conversation. And, you know, when you start unpacking something like blame, and you start having breakthroughs or paradigm shifts, the ahas start to come, and it's this whole process that we really promote here at Project Forgive is making the unconscious conscious, making the unconscious conscious. And that's the goal of every lecture I give. I give them every Monday night. Sometimes we skip a week depending upon what's going on in the summer. Like next week I will be out of town, so it's going to be 2 weeks. And here, let me put on my glasses because I wrote some notes. So I thought we'd look at this in 3 different ways. For those that just joining, everything I share, I put notes up so you don't even have to write anything down. If you want to say, what was that phrase she said that was so great? Ha ha ha, whatever. It'll be in the notes. And how I thought we'd unpack blame tonight is we'd look at some psychological definitions, we'd look at some traps of blame, and then we'll look at how can we start causing some breakthroughs. Because this is about you, this is about me, this is about our internal process, and do we use blame or does blame use us? And it's an interesting conversation. I see you guys are starting to show up. Hi everyone, I see you guys are showing up. Hi Jeannie, hi Evelyn, so glad you're here. All right, couple commercials before we go. Hey Ruth Ann, I'm so glad you're here. Hi Maria, what's shaking? Hot here in the Detroit area too. It's hot in Toronto or Ontario. I don't think you're in Toronto. Where are you at, Maria? I can't remember. Ontario is a big place. So commercials. Many of you are excited about coming to our apology workshop, the apology you'll never receive. It's the first workshop I'm doing on Facebook through Zoom. Okay, so it's a hot mess. Okay, we've talked to Facebook. We try to get to talk to Facebook. Facebook's pretty darn busy. And they're trying new things, and so this whole workshop thing is interesting, okay, and how to sign up. So here's the deal. 2 things. The workshop is $6.99. If you have financial struggles, I don't want to say you can't afford it. That's a mindset that I don't want to play in. And if you're having some financial struggles and you'd love to be gifted, we have those available too. So this is how you do it. For those that are looking for a scholarship, you just email us, joy@projectforgive.com, and Highly will get you handled. That is until we're full, okay? Now, when you want to come to the workshop, we have a link right on our website. I'm going to put it up here. You can also pay here on Facebook. Me and Highly in my office, we just haven't figured out how you're going to get all that information because we don't have your email to send you the Zoom information. And because it's a closed workshop, I will not be putting the Zoom access here on Facebook, like on a post. I won't be doing that. So I'll be popping up. The first one is next week, Wednesday, July 28th. It'll last 45 minutes to an hour. You will laugh your butt off. You will do some good work. You'll connect with people. It's a very beautiful workshop. It's one that I do all over the globe. I have been doing for a long time. And so if you want to come, it's $6.99. I'll put up those links. You can purchase here on Facebook. Maybe message us your email in Messenger. I don't know how to do that yet. We will figure that out. We just got to get through the first one. How's that? Okay. Oh, Hampton, right by, not even a breeze. Okay, right by Lake Ontario. Got it. There's no breeze there. Hi, Connie. I see you guys are showing up. For those just joining us, hi from Philly, Karen. We're doing the conversation of the psychology of blame. Okay. We're in the midst of commercials, so the apology workshop. There we go. I just want to thank you for the stars because every time you donate stars, it makes a difference for us to be able to give scholarships. So thank you for that. I always give away prizes. I'll tell you what the prizes are at the end of the lecture. Some nights I go 15 minutes, sometimes as long as 30. We do prizes at the very end, and you must be present to win, at least while I'm giving away the prizes. How's that? If you're brand spanking new, if you are brand spanking new and this is your first time, make sure you say, hey, it's my first time, because everybody in the community, including myself, will welcome you. We're so glad you're here. And be sure to check out our shop here on Facebook. We got lots of Project Forgive merch. As my daughter says, oh, you got merch. We have forgiveness essential oil that is to die for. We have forgiveness charms. We have masks. We even have an apology necklace with the tool, the apology you'll never receive. It comes in a little packet with that. Also, we do have a Joy is a Habit Facebook group. We come from the premise, no matter what you're going through, it doesn't matter, that there's always space, 5 seconds, 10 seconds to find some joy, and that you create that as a habit, or else you'd really be down in the dumps all the time. And who wants that? Not me. So actively seeking joy, that's what our Facebook group is all about. I'll put that up here, so if you want to join the group, please join. Okay, psychology of blame. Let's see if there's anything I need to say before I start going into this content. Hi, Claudine. Hi, Emily. I see you guys. Welcome, welcome. Hi, Nancy. So glad you're here. Lori, welcome. First time. Hi, Prince. Welcome. Glad you're here. Hey, Terry. What's shaking, girl? All right. Yeah, Sandra, you're so nice. I love that you welcome others. Yep. Perfect. Okay. So let's start with some psychological definitions. And I won't go too deep, and I won't make it too academic, okay? Because I am an academic. All right. So we typically know blame, like we know it with narcissism. We've done tons of lectures on narcissism. I'm sure our audience knows all about narcissism, or at least knows a lot about it. And narcissistic personality disorder, they're extremely resistant to changing their behavior, even when it's causing them problems. We know that. And their tendency, 99% of the time, is to blame others. They're never at fault for anything. Then there's something called fundamental attribution error. Fundamental attribution error. This is when we excuse ourselves for negative behavior and then we excuse ourselves, but when we see someone else do it, we blame them. So like we have special privileges with our blame, okay? And then there's self-serving bias. Researchers have discovered that many of us will take credit for the things we do good in life and lay blame on circumstances when things don't go so well, right? That's self-serving bias. And then, of course, there's the old standby projection. If you guys ever heard projection, if you've ever done counseling, you've heard projection. And that's when it's actually a defense mechanism. Many of these are anyway, in which our ego defends itself against unconscious impulses, negative and positive qualities, by denying their existence in ourselves and attributing them to others. I'll give some great examples as we go through this material. Okay, so think about this for a second. Here you are. Think about this. This is this pop quiz. You put food in the microwave, you run around, you're doing things, and then the food in the microwave explodes. You know, what do? Do you tend to blame yourself? Do you blame others? Do you blame like your husband or your partner because they don't help enough around the house, and here you are multitasking and it's their fault that the food in the microwave exploded? You with me? Okay, I'm sure some of you can relate at least some version of that. Or what about you're late, you're getting out the door, and just as you're getting out the door, the dog gets out of the house. And you're like, oh, crap, gotta chase the dog. Okay, do you blame yourself for being late? Do you blame the neighbor who actually just said hi, waved hi to you, and so you were distracted for a second, so you waved to the neighbor, and that's how the dog got out? Excuse me. You know, just something to think about. What about slipping on ice in your driveway, or maybe even slipping on leaves? Do you blame like your own clumsiness? Do you say, oh, I'm so clumsy? You know, what do? Or do you revert back to the partner spouse thing? Well, she didn't do the driveway, okay? And think about this for a second as we go through these ideas, is where are you on the blame scale? Do you tend to, if we're looking at a dichotomy, like a pendulum swing, do you tend to blame others, or do you tend to blame yourself? If I were to look at my tendency, I love to blame others. Okay? It's his fault. They did it. I can't believe this. Okay, that's my MO. I tend to blame others. So even just having that awareness is helpful in unpacking and making the unconscious conscious. Okay. All right. Let me see if you guys are saying anything about what I'm saying. Yeah, and I'm with you on the narcissistic stuff. Okay. Deflecting. Exactly. You're spot on. Okay, so there's this dance of blame. We tend to, blame ourselves or blame others, and we have one that is our MO, okay? So start noticing that. And so why do we blame? Why do we blame? I have a list of reasons why we blame. Of course, defense mechanism, and just like, let's see, I'm with you, I'm blaming both. Sandra, let's see, grab some, yeah, Abigail, deflecting. I wanted to acknowledge you for that. Okay, yep. So as a defense mechanism, whether you can call it projection, denial, displacement, deflection, whatever, that it like helps you preserve your sense of self-esteem. And what it really does, though, it avoids your awareness of your own flaws or failings, and we all have them. That's one of the reasons why I share a lot of the stuff that I'm going through or where I really screwed up. So, and because I know that things I screw up on, I know most of us do. It's just part of being human, right? Also, in that defense mechanism realm, it's a way to escape guilt. There's nothing worse than feeling guilty all the time. And so sometimes we blame so we don't have to pack on even more guilt. You with me? Okay. And it's a tool that we use in attack mode. Number 2, we use it in attack mode. Destructive conflict resolution method. It's a way to try to hurt our partners or those that are close to us. And it's what we do when we're really hurting and we want to attack. The other thing about blame too, number 3, is that it means we don't have to be vulnerable. When you're blaming someone, you're not being authentic and real. You're not. And it's creating inauthenticity, and it actually gets in the way of all that connection we all crave. We crave to be close to people. We crave it. And so many times we're in the midst, like, let me just use a quick example. My husband puts his arm around me. I love it when he puts his arm around me. And I've been annoyed lately then and blaming him for not loving me enough, for not putting his arm around me enough. So when he actually does do it, I might say something, as a snide remark like, finally, you're putting your arm around me, that passive-aggressive behavior. And it's a blame mode. And we're actually getting what we want in the midst of trying to get intimacy with our partners or those close to us. We actually do behaviors that push them away. So the question really is, how intimate do you really want to be? How real, how authentic, how raw do you really want to be with the people in your life? Because it takes courage to be vulnerable, right? I love Brene Brown for making vulnerability cool, because that's exactly what she did. If you don't know Brene Brown, check her out. She is exquisitely delicious. Okay. And then there's this thing about responsibility. When you blame someone else, you don't have to accept any responsibility. There's no effort involved in recognizing your contributions to a bad situation, right? And accepting the fact that you're actually at fault is hard to do. And the game is, how can you change it so you don't have to do it again, right? Control. Of course, control is going to come up. Something I'm deeply working on right now is control. What can I control? What can't I control? And empowering where I can control. And blame is one of them. I can control when and how and if I blame. And not blaming someone means you have to accept there was a situation where perhaps you acted in a way that you're just not proud of. I do it daily. Primarily with my husband. The hardest in intimacy is with those closest to you, right? And actually, when you are blaming in that conversation of control, you're a little bit out of control, right? I'm a little bit out of control when I'm in the midst of blaming and wanting to control something. I got a great example here in a second. Now, not blaming someone also means that you have to listen to their side of the story. Another thing you can't control, right? You can't control it. And the story is a big one. If you blame someone, then you have control. If you blame someone, then you have control of the story, both past and future. Hence, things happen the way they did, and it's all their fault. You got it, right? And the last thing that I wanted to talk about with blame is that people lie. They do. We lie all the time. Hey, does my butt look big? These jeans. I haven't said that in a long time. But, oh no, honey, your butt looks amazing. Abigail, I'm with you on the bossy, okay? And people lie, like you may figure that no one will really know it was you that broke the printer in the workroom at work, okay? No one's gonna know it was you. No one was around, so you just blame someone else who's not there and hope they don't find out, or just say, "Oh, I don't know what happened," and that's blaming the obscurity. Okay, I've done it. Have you ever done that? Like, oh my gosh, I have to say, Faze, I cannot take accountability or responsibility for this. See what you guys are saying. Talking about blame tonight. I love bossy women. Yep, I'm with you. I'm with you. Yep, I'm with you, Nancy. Perfect. It does take courage. Okay, so here's the juice. Here's the juice. So what can you do to unpack your own blame, make the unconscious conscious? What can you do to unpack looking at yourself vulnerably and realistically, where do you blame? I got 3 tips. If there's something that happened, something big that happened 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and you keep telling that same story, we all need things to get off our chest, okay, with friends we love and trust. But blame recounted too much. If we do it too much, the same story over and over and over, it grows like a snowball. It goes deep in our neurological pathways, and it's really hard to get out of it. It's kind of like, let's say you're walking along and you see someone sitting on the curb in your subdivision or in your neighborhood, and they're crying. And you're like, oh, what's wrong? And they're like, oh, the storm, it was terrible. The windows blew in. It was awful. The water was flooding. It was terrible. And you're like, oh my gosh, did anybody get hurt? Yes, lots of people got hurt. Well, where did this happen? When did this? Oh, it happened 20 years ago. When I was in Tennessee visiting my grandmother. Now that's an odd story. And when we latch onto a story that's full of blame and we live it day in and day out, over and over and over and over, we actually live that blame, and it's so hard to get out of those neurological pathways. And so here's the trick. Stop relating the story. Just stop talking about it. Or find one person who can be your blame partner. I have a partner that sometimes I'll call up and say, a girlfriend, I'll say, hey, I need you to tell me I'm amazing. I'm having a horrible day. This happened. I need you to tell me how much you love me and what you love about me. I have friends like that. And I also have places where I can go complain about my husband. Very few, because sometimes if I'm complaining about my husband too much, they buy into that I got a bad husband. I don't want people to buy in that I got a bad husband. I want to have space to really puke out what I'm upset about so I can clear off so I can unpack some of it so I can really see where's my part in this, right? So I have very select girlfriends that I can bitch about my husband, right? Because I don't want people to buy in that I got a bad husband, because I don't. I have an awesome husband, right? And sometimes I need to talk about what's going on. Therapy is good for that too, right? Therapists are great for that. So, you could even go cold turkey with that old story that you keep saying over and over and over, and lighten how much you talk about. And start even noticing how much you do talk about that one story. You already know what story I'm talking about, that one thing. You might have a couple, okay? That one thing that just drives you crazy, that it's been going on for years, okay? Now, vulnerability, being vulnerable. Like, actually, this is how you help unpack blame. Actually practice being vulnerable. I'm going to use an example of what happened today, okay? So we have a little deck, and a couple times today my husband came to me. We both work at home, okay? And he said, hey, come on out on the deck and sit with me while we have lunch or whatever. And it was this morning we went out and had coffee, and there were these gross spider webs on one of the chairs that I wanted to sit on. And I'm like, oh, well, you get rid of those spider webs. You just need I didn't tell him you need to take a broom and just wipe them. He says, oh yeah, honey, I'll take care of that. So then he brings me out again at lunchtime, and the spider webs are still there, so I don't have anywhere to sit. And so I sat and stood and did that. And then I came out one more time. He invited me to come out one more time. We were just taking a quick break, and the spider webs were still there, okay? Well, now I'm triggered. The trigger is, if my husband loved me, he would do what he said he was going to do. That's one of my triggers, okay? If you say you're going to do something, you do it. There was never a time frame on it. There was never a nothing, okay? And that's a trigger of mine. If you say you're going to do it, okay? And if you mess up, say sorry, and hey, I'll do it by tomorrow or whatever. Got it? That's my thing, right? That's just a Dr. Shawne thing. So I threw a temper tantrum and just said, and I blamed him for not being a good husband. Those weren't my words. My words were more like, I can't believe it. You keep inviting me to come out here, and you didn't even wipe off these spider webs. I guess I'll just do it myself. Okay, that's my version of a temper tantrum. Okay, so wiped off the things, whatever, and it was a little awkward for a little bit. And then I'm starting to think, okay, if I were to really unpack this, at the moment I didn't know it was a trigger. Okay, triggers sometimes just happen. and I behaved badly. And I said, oh my gosh, this is avoiding intimacy for me. Because I could say, if I would have said, oh honey, will you just do those spider webs for me right now? I would just love it because I really want to sit in that chair. He would have got up and did it. You with me? He would have. He would have. That's just the kind of person he is. It's kind of my husband I have. But going into blame chopped any kind of vulnerability and intimacy in that moment of hanging out. And then I have to think to myself, okay, well, Shawne, were you really sabotaging? Because I was so busy with work, I really didn't want to go out on the deck. So what's up with that, Missy Smarty Pants? You know, like these are the kinds of things I ask myself. And so I went back to my husband later in the day, just not too long ago, and said, you know, it's so funny. I'm doing this talk on blame. And I actually got a great example because what I just did to you was exactly what I'm talking about tonight. And I just unpacked it a little bit for him to let him see into me, because intimacy is letting someone see into you what was really going on. And I apologized. And he loved it. It's like, oh, great. Yeah, it's not that deep. You know, that's what I'm saying. It's not that deep. And I believe in communication, you can solve just about anything. That's a very simple example. And these are the kinds of unpackings that I'm talking about, okay? All right, so there's that one. Let's see if there's anything you're saying about that I need to address. Yep. I'm with you, Kathy. Yep. Okay, last but not least, before we close and do a prize here, something to ask yourself is, how do you view mistakes? When you make a mistake or someone else makes a mistake, this is a self-esteem issue, okay? The more self-worth you have, the more you're able to manage being responsible for yourself, and the more you can accept everyone else's humanity and imperfections and capacity for error, and the more likely you're to accept and understand it in yourself and others as well. And this is probably one of the reasons why I love forgiveness so much, because it ties into so many pieces of our psyche, of how we interact as humans, how we communicate. And like, mistakes happen all the time. In my office, like, our joke is, oh darn it, made another mistake. It ain't that deep. It ain't that deep is our phrase. It would take a lot at work for me to get really upset. It would take a lot. Somebody's beating somebody at a presentation. That would get me upset. That's never happened, but it would take a lot. And sometimes when there's energy going on, like this apology workshop that's coming up next week, Wednesday, it's very disorganized in how to do it on Facebook. It is, okay? And Hailey, who runs my office, is the most organized and efficient person I've ever met. I am not joking. She really is. We call her Mission Control Maven because she doesn't miss a beat. So this disorganization through Zoom and Facebook is driving her nuts. It is driving her absolutely batty, okay? And I get it. She emails me daily about it. Have you figured this out? And, you know, I just keep soothing her, saying, it ain't that deep. We'll figure it out as we go. And I really don't believe we're going to figure it out before. I don't think we're going to know until we do it, to see how to really do it, because the messages are very conflicting. I'm not dissing or blaming Facebook. There's a lot going on Facebook, a lot of changes, and I get it, okay? Then I look at something like, sometimes I'll put up funny posts on Project Forgive, and I think they are frickin' hysterical. This is back, we're talking about mistakes and blame. And half the people will say, oh my gosh, that's so funny. And the other half will say, that is so cruel. And I'll be like, what? This is funny, okay? I get that some things are not funny to people. So what happens when you release blame, you also start getting new ideas and new solutions. So one of the things we started doing on our funny posts is putting, and there's even one on right here that I just think is so funny. It's the one that we just put up. It says, the proper term for us senior women should be queen-agers. That's it. Carry on. And right below it is a laughing, emoji. Putting the laughing emoji makes it more clear that this is supposed to be funny. Doesn't mean people can't be expressed and share, hey, that wasn't funny, because people do that all the time. That's fine. Everybody sees humor differently. And but that was one of the solutions. I'm like, well, that's a cool way to deal with that without blaming people for not having a good sense of humor, or saying, oh, they just don't get it, or whatever. None of that is present, right? Okay. Anything you want to say before we do a prize? Hang on, I gotta blow. I don't know why my nose is running, but it is. Hold on one second. I'm gonna kind of go like this. Excuse me. You saying anything I gotta notice? We did the psychology of blame. Yep, Kaylee Ann, I'm with you. Yep. We tend to go either blaming others or blaming ourselves and choose the path. Yeah, and we do sometimes have both. Oh, Kim, that's a great question. How is it if they make a mistake, apologize, and keep doing it, how is that a real apology if the behavior keeps happening? It is a real apology. That's a boundary issue. That's not an apology issue. So let's say we've done so many talks on this, and I'll just do it very quickly here. You can go through our Facebook Lives, tons and tons and tons on boundaries, okay? And it might be, let me use one. Oh, my husband, I have these 2 chairs in my office. Here's my office, okay? I have those 2 chairs. When my husband comes in here, he pulls up a chair right up to my desk, and my request is that he puts the chair back, right? Please when you're done and you leave, please put the chair back. And don't leave your shoes in my office. My office is my sacred space, okay? Let's say he says, okay, I'm so sorry. I'll make sure I put the chair back. And then he stops doing it, right? Because he's my husband, I have more capacity to say other things versus a work situation or a colleague. And after the 3rd time in this past week, and he left the chair there, I just said, he came in, because I'm helping him produce a video, I'm a television producer. And he picks up my chair, I said, you know what, here's the thing. I keep allowing you in my office. I've asked you many times that chair going back is really important to me because this is my sacred, precious space. And so I need to know if you're going to sit down here that you're going to put that chair back, or we need to move to another room. Seriously. That was a boundary. Either you're going to put the chair back, or you can't come in here. We're going to go to a different room, right? So it's apologizing doesn't allow people to keep doing the same behavior. If they keep doing the same behavior, it's your cue, your internal intuition. You need to set a boundary. And what is that boundary? And how valuable is it? And how do you want to talk about it, that boundary? So when people do repeated behaviors, those are boundary issues. I hope that was helpful. Let's see. Saying anything else that I need to address? Yeah, and I'm so with you, Kathy. When I was a kid, I was blamed for stuff I didn't do either. I hated that. Even struggled watching movies when people were blamed for killing somebody they didn't kill, like the Harrison Ford movie. Can't remember it, where his wife was killed by a guy with a mechanical arm. Do you guys know which movie I'm talking about? What was that movie called? Cella Ward was in that movie. It was a great movie. And I've watched that movie many times. It's one of the few movies where someone's blamed for something they didn't do. Because I hate being blamed for something I didn't do. I'm so with you there, right? Let's see if they're saying anything else. Yep, Laura, it's part of your MO. There's nothing you can do to fix it. Just start noticing when you do it. Just start noticing and practicing those 3 things. Are you working on your self-esteem? What stories are you telling? Are you being vulnerable? Because those are the activities that help release its grip, right? Let's see. Yeah, I love boundaries too, Nadine. The Fugitive, spot on. There, Jamie, Nancy, you guys got it. Yep, Judy, you got it. Okay, giving away a prize. Here's the gift tonight. Here's the caveat of the prizes. You must be U.S. based to win. You must be U.S. based to win. Tonight, some lucky person is going to win Kindness is Contagious mask, a white one. Kindness is Contagious mask, a black one. One of our forgiveness charms, sterling silver, and we'll give you how to take care of it. They're just beautiful. Let me just show it to you. See if you can see it in my hand. There's my purse back there. There it is. Okay. And then I'm also going to throw in Stop Pain Clinical Maximum Performance Pain Relief. This stuff is really good. Everybody's telling me they love it. It's from Stop Pain. I'm going to give you a little brochure on it and a little sample to go in your purse or in your car. And you'll also get this big gel, and someone's going to win it here in the U.S. Here's how you win. it's according to my feed, I'm going to say number 8. The 8th person to put in the words yes. Just type in the word yes. The 8th yes in my feed gets the ship to them here in the US. That's our prize tonight. So I'll start counting them off as the yeses start coming up on my feed. Forgive, it's so not fair for those that live out of the country. I'm so sorry. Sorry. And the feed shows up differently for other people, right? So I just want to see the word yes. Michelle's number 1, yes. Number 8 gets it, and you can win as much as you want. Deborah's number 2, yes. Gail is number 3, yes. Misty is number 4. Cindy's number 5. Karen's number 6. You can do it again. Beverly's number 7. Tammy Schaffer, it's you. You're number 8. Tammy, you are it. Congratulations. All you got to do is message me here on Facebook. Me and Hyla are the only ones that will see your address and your email if you can give us both. We do not sell your email. We use the email so you can track your shipping, and it'll go out in the mail tomorrow, okay? All right, couple of things. Workshop coming up. No lecture next Monday. I am out of town. I'm in Sedona, Arizona. Actually, I'll be on a plane that night, so I won't be here for lecture next week. So for those coming to the workshop, I will see you next week, Wednesday. I'll pop up occasionally live to remind you to register the right way, whatever the right way is, okay? Until we get that figured out. I'm just trusting that you guys are going to forgive us as we figure this out. I actually don't even know, and out of all my speaker friends, who's ever done this before. So we're the first, it's the first time. We'll get it figured out, and if we mess it all up, we'll just say sorry and redo it. Okay, it ain't that deep. It is not that deep. And there's no one to blame. Okay, cool. As soon as I hang up here, I'm gonna put up all the notes, and look at people congratulating you, Tammy. That's so cool. The biggest gift you can give us is to share us. Not necessarily a live broadcast, because you know what, these lectures aren't everybody's cup of tea. That's so fine. I see a poster that moves you by Project Forgive, please share it. You see an article that inspires you, please share it, because that's how we are funded through corporate sponsors to be able to do the things that we do, okay? All right, big love. Talk to you soon. Mwah! Bye.